my troublesomes, it's Miracle and welcome back to Mind of a Miracle. I'm so happy you guys decided to join me today, and honey, we are doing what we do best, and that is minding other people's business. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a little comfort pillow, go ahead and pour yourself a little drinky drink, honey, because I got the hot cocoa for you. Sweethearts, my troublesomes, all my fellow netizens that got blocked on Twitter this week, today we are talking about our dear and loving friend Shane Dawson, who is in the process of being canceled. Now, for those of you who want full details and context pertaining to the events that led up to this moment, I will link my previous video up above, but I will take the time to recap this so you are up to speed. As many of you may know, people are attributing this time that we are experiencing right now as to Dramageddon 3 and or Karmageddon. These chain of events seem to be triggered by Cam Lester, who ended up coming out with a statement against Jeffree Star. He ends up bringing up that Shane Dawson seemed to be privy of the situation, and so many people ended up questioning whether or not all of Dramageddon 2 was actually planned. Receiving a lot of backlash from a lot of people all over the interwebs, Shane Dawson decided to take the time to address that whole situation, and the means in which he decided to do so left a lot to be desired. Shane Dawson ends up issuing out a 4-page symposium on Twitter that he later on deleted, which in a roundabout way, generally speaking, said that he believed that James Charles needed to be served a slice of humble pie, and he decided to clarify that he had no involvement with the planning of Dramageddon 2, and he decided to finish off that statement with saying that the beauty community is toxic and it's not the place for him, so he made his money and he walked out that door. As expected, many people felt hurt and deceived by the way that Shane decided to leave the beauty community. A lot of people felt that he himself had no right to try to say that James Charles needed to be humbled, and he was definitely not the one to be humbling him, and so people decided at this point in time it was necessary to remind Shane Dawson of his rather colorful past. Netizens managed to compile a lot of Shane Dawson's disgusting behavior throughout the years, and in the process of compiling these things, a lot of people who were not aware of these past behaviors ended up trying to reach out to Shane to question what exactly he was doing and why exactly he was not addressing any of these things. Inspired by Jenna Marbles, Shane Dawson decided that now was the time to address his problematic past, and he ended up creating a 20-minute long apology video where he goes over mainly 3 different things, one of which involves his racism and blackface.
I think this video for me is more about just saying everything I want to say and ways that I want to help be a part of a change and not be a part of a problem, which is what I've been a part of. So I'm going to start with all the racism that I put onto the internet as an adult, not a child. I was at least 20 when I started YouTube, and I made the decision to play stereotypes of black people or Asian people or Mexicans or pretty much every race. I made that decision. I said, oh, this is funny, and I put it on the internet. So first, let's start with blackface. Blackface was something that I did a lot. Like, I did it a lot on my channel, and there's no excuse for it. There's literally no excuse. I made a video 6 years ago talking about it, and I gave excuses, and I knew it was wrong, and I knew I would never wanted to do it again, but I didn't do the work. I didn't actually look into the history of it and why it's so wrong and why people were so upset. Because my excuse, oh, I was just being funny. I love black people. I'm not racist. I was trying to be funny. Like, all of that is stupid. And I put that onto the internet as an adult.
Another issue of conversation that Shane Dawson decided to go over involved another content creator who ended up receiving a lot of backlash because many of people thought that she was the one that Shane Dawson said that was giving him a hard time.
Now, there was one person who really tried to get through to me for a long time, and her name is Jessica Lee. And probably 7 years ago, she's a YouTuber, and she tweeted me, and we got into fights back and forth, and my audience at the time was saying racist things to her, and it was so toxic, and I'm so sorry, and it's so gross, and there's no amount of apologizing for it. And I think I was taking everything as an attack, which is so stupid. Like, looking back, that is stupid. I was taking it as an attack. Like, I'm not racist, leave me alone, I'm not racist. And, you know, it's like, okay, okay, but look what you're making, Shane. Like that, I don't know how I didn't see that. That podcast is a source of so much awful shit for me. Now, she believes, and a lot of people believe, that I was talking about her. And I can say, if I had a Bible, I would put my hand on it. I can say, without a doubt, hand on a Bible, that was not about Francesca Lee. That was about another woman. Not that it makes it okay, because it doesn't. Talking about anybody like that is crazy, especially a woman, but it was about a white woman. And the ironic part is that woman was just trying to get through to me too. Like, she was just trying to explain to me why what I was making on the internet is hurting people.
And finally, Shane Dawson ends up going over videos that involve his rather disgusting behavior and comments towards children.
So I'm sorry if you heard that. There's also other ones too. I mean, and that's something I have addressed before, but my childhood, my past, I've had a lot of pain. I've had a lot of bad things happen to me. I've had a lot of issues with my family. And I took that pain and I turned it into jokes. And I think instead of joking about them so much, I probably should have just went to therapy earlier and talked about them. I swear on my life, I am not somebody who would ever talk about a child, like in seriousness. I would never talk about a child in any way that was inappropriate. That is disgusting, that is gross, it is not something I would ever do. It is something I did for shock value or because I thought it was funny or...
In response to a video that recently resurfaced of Shane Dawson pretending to pleasure himself while looking at a billboard of Willow Smith, Jaden Smith ended up responding this to Shane Dawson. Shane Dawson, I am disgusted by you. You sexualizing an 11-year-old girl who happens to be my sister is the furthest thing from funny and is not okay in the slightest bit. Jada Pickett Smith ended up also putting in her 2 cents, and she says, to Shane Dawson, I'm done with the excuses. Jaden Smith finishes off by tweeting, this man was also doing blackface on the regular. As the youth, we need to support creators who support us and our morals. This is not okay.
And he ends up giving context in reference to a video where he talks about the birds and the bees with his 12-year-old cousin.
Because I posted it on the internet for everyone, not just my family. I posted like a stupid, weird family moment for everyone.
So my troublesome opinion time. How do I feel about this little situation right here?
To be honest with you, I had a rather hard time deciding on what to say about this entire situation. In actuality, this is my 3rd time recording this video, and I finally decided to write something down just to get my thoughts together so I can figure out what I want to say. To those of you who regularly watch my content, this is no surprise to you, but I have in my past supported Shane Dawson. I actually got reacquainted with his material last year during the Shane Dawson x Jeffree Star Conspiracy Palette series. Prior to that moment, however, I actually discovered Shane Dawson at a weird time in my life. For those of you who have been here for a while, you might have heard me speak on this in a couple of lives, but during my middle school years, I had a bit of an identity crisis. Oftentimes I felt outcasted and less beautiful because the town that I grew up in, the standard of beauty was much related to any sort of white or Asian sort of demographic, and the amount of Black people that were available in my school were slim to none. At that time, I related my physical attributes as my identity, and the only thing that I had going on for me was that I was fat and Black. And in that time, because I had no one to really look to as an example, me being Black was a hard pill to swallow, especially since I was oftentimes treated as a curse, especially when I identified as being an American Black individual. So I decided to do something for myself, and instead of self-loathing, I decided to try self-loving, and I decided to go on the internet to figure things out. And I know that's probably not the wisest course of actions, but my resources were really limited, guys, so that's all I had going on for me. And so I ended up YouTubing people who love Black people, and I ended up finding Glozell, and in clicking through her video, somehow I ended up stumbling on Shane Dawson, and I was at awe because there was a Black woman on his channel, and she was a plus size girl, and she was beautiful, and I was like living my best life because I'm like, I found representation. But it didn't take too long for me to figure out that his content wasn't actually very good for me. It didn't reflect me. It didn't make me feel good. I didn't identify with the type of comedy that he was going for. And slowly but surely, I ended up moving on to bigger and better things, aka anime, specifically Bleach, because there's color folks in that show. And yes, we love that. So why am I bringing this up? Shane Dawson has been on YouTube for 15 years. 15 years. He had a lot of time to figure out who he was as a person, to see what his content was doing for people, and thankfully I had the foresight to decide to separate myself from that sort of content and what that was doing for my mentality. But a lot of people did not actually have the foresight to be able to remove themselves from that sort of material. And that's scary. That's really scary, because to make it simple, he helped to shape the minds of many people, hundreds of thousands of people. And while he does acknowledge the fact that he's hurt a lot of people in the process, I don't think that Shane fully understands the gravity of what exactly he has done. Now, it would be completely foolish for anybody to try to hold Shane Dawson accountable for whoever decided to click on his videos and follow his example. That would be nonsensical. However, he, along with many creators, including myself, hold a measure of responsibility every single time we press publish, every single time we post online, upload a video, upload an image, write a tweet. We all hold a measure of responsibility every time we engage with individuals, especially when you yourself have a big following. You yourself as a viewer even have an influence on the people around you. That's the power of being a human being. Now, Shane Dawson decided at that time that his comedy was a means to separate himself from the things that were going on in his life, but because he decided to avoid these things that are not his fault, but the way he decided to handle it was not the proper way, because he ended up influencing other people to be able to act in a similar fashion to him. And these people, a lot of these people, did not go through the same trials and tribulations he did, and they do not fully understand what they are doing. He helped shape the minds of these ignorant individuals, and this is why we have problems now. Now, I shouldn't have to say this, but you know what? I will, just for the sake of a conversation. This is not just a Shane Dawson issue. This is an every creator issue. It's Shane Dawson, it's Jeffree Star, it's Jenna Marbles, it's Nikita Dragun. It's so many names and so many different faces of individuals who do things without fully understanding the repercussions that end up following this negative behavior. And then we have these conversations, and you know what? I'm gonna have this conversation with you. Yes, we have to allow people to grow. Yes, there is such a thing as fully understanding what advocacy is. However, you cannot say that you are an ally or you have made any visible changes when you in actuality have not shown that much personal growth. And let's have a conversation as to why I don't believe in this apology directly, and why I don't feel comfortable accepting this apology, and why I've changed my stance in supporting Shane Dawson at this current time. When we take the time to break down what happened in this video, a lot of times it seemed as if Shane Dawson was actually not fully committing to what he's actually done and how he has harmed the victims of his nonsense, as opposed to how he was made to feel in this process. A lot of times I just heard, I felt like crap, I was in a bad place, I didn't feel good about this, I felt like people were attacking me, and he kept soothing his own ego and redefining why he felt like he was right to react the way he did. And that's not proper, because a proper apology acknowledges what you made the other person feel like. And I don't feel as if Shane Dawson fully did that at within this video, because when he spoke about the racism, he said, I can't even imagine what it would be like to see the world from a black person's perspective and acknowledge the fact that while I'm sitting here in pain, these white people or other people who are my fans are out here saying, yes, Shane Dawson's in the right because he says it's funny, and because my favorite comedian on YouTube says it's funny, everything's a-okay. And screw you, black person, screw your feelings, I could care less. And it's not just black people that he did these things to. It's Asian people, it's Mexican people, it's other people of color who suffered from his form of comedy, and he did so without thinking about how he made these people feel. The general rule of thumb is when you are a comedian or you're trying to make these sketches for the people, generally speaking, if you do not believe the persons that you are making the jokes about can laugh at whatever you're talking about, more than likely it's probably not in your best interest to make this into a joke in the first place, because it's not you laughing with them at that point, it's you laughing at them. Now, when it comes to that young woman named Francesca, Shane Dawson, you decided to pretend as if you and her did not have a private dissertation in which she asked you not to involve you in any form of your social media previously. That being said, it seemed like in your apology video you were made aware of the fact that she actually posted a thread about that situation, to which it seems as if you actually read that. In the process of you reading that thread, you saw again she reiterated to you that she did not want to be involved in this dialogue and she would prefer a private discourse with you. But you decided instead to go on your platform and end up openly having a conversation with the world instead of directing your apology first at her, asking her for permission to even speak about this situation and involve her in this situation because it looked better for you. It's all about you, Shane, and that's the thing that you're not understanding. A lot of the things that you do, while you claim that you care about other people, you think about your own comfort first. But you know what I've noticed about you, Shane, especially when these things kept coming up over and over and over again, and I listened to you speak on these things over and over and over again, a lot of times you say that you were uncomfortable. But Shane, you were comfortable being uncomfortable for years, and only when it starts to inconvenience you, that's when you want to bring it up. That's when you want to address things. But what were you doing when other people were reaching out to you? And you're talking about this personal growth thing, and you're talking about how you didn't want to address it because you felt like you were being attacked. What about the people you were attacking, Shane? What about them? I don't want to even speak on the things that are involving children. I just want you to know that you hurt a lot of people. You scarred a lot of people, you triggered a lot of people, and I hope and I pray that you are not that type of person. And you know what? I'm not going to take away the means in which you decided to cope with that, because I've been in that position as well. I've gone through my own childhood trauma, and I will say that I've made some rather off-color jokes, because that's what people do. They laugh at disturbing things instead of addressing their pain. However, you made the mistake of posting that on the internet. I'm getting a little bit frustrated talking about this, so I'm going to close off this video by making this point. If you guys are not aware, I have an amazing friend named Chelsea. Chelsea has been on my channel a number of times, but if you are not familiar with her, I encourage you to check her channel out. I will link her video in my description box down below. That way you can check her out and be educated and informed and fall in love with my friends just like I did. But that being said, the other day we had a conversation about advocacy. We ended up uncovering that to be an advocate, we do so with the intention of educating somebody, especially about a need that is important to us in our lives. With that education, we also understand that the individual that we are trying to educate has a past. And in so doing, we also, while trying to make sure that we hold them accountable, we also understand that we need to allow these individuals to grow. So this consistent means of canceling someone, quote unquote, is not conducive to being a proper advocate because there is no means for growth. Now, I'm not necessarily relaying this to Shane Dawson. No, not at this time. Because while he says that he's experienced some metamorphosis within his life, unfortunately, me, myself, as an audience member, I have not seen that metamorphosis. And because of that, this is why I have a difficult time really believing that he truly understands what it means to grow. Shane, to show true growth, you need to be able to show people this change in your everyday life. And not only that, you have to do so from a genuine heart. You had an awareness that you had this issue 6 years ago, and only now, because it's been highlighted and thrown in your face several times in a means that seems to be not going away, that's when you want to confront everything. And I can't say that you're not genuine about it, but it seems mighty suspicious to me and a lot of other people. So I really and truly hope that you were doing this from a place of genuinely wanting to be educated and reaching out to the individuals that you have directly harmed in this process. Even reach out to your friends, your Black friends, quote unquote, that you may have inadvertently harmed in this process, and really understand what sort of thing you've done wrong. And on top of that, understand that not everything is made for YouTube. So sometimes these conversations need to be in private. You don't have to put everything on social media, especially when you're trying to show someone that you're being genuine, i.e. Francesca. So that's all I have to share with you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification to receive updates any other time that I upload. I do apologize that this turned out to be a voiceover, and I apologize that this just seemed to be like a long rant at the end, but I was just feeling some kind of way and I got fed up of trying to record this on screen because it wasn't working out. But that's all I have for you lots today, and I love you so much. Until next time, love you, okay, bye!